If you ask most people whether or not they want to be successful, most of them will say yes. But even though most people want to be successful, most of them are not. Why? What exactly is holding back these people from being successful? What can they do to remove these roadblocks, get those things out of their way? And most importantly, when it comes for most people in general, what are the top things that hold them back from really being successful in life? Don't worry guys, we're gonna talk about all those questions right now. Welcome back to the channel everybody. Danilo Capric here, AKA the best dressed man in tech sales. Do not forget it. And in today's video, we're gonna talk about what are the top 4 things that are holding back most people when it comes to living the life of their dreams, manifesting the outcomes they want, and really becoming and living out their best lives. So without further ado, let's get into it so you can learn these insights. All right, guys, the first thing that holds back most people from being successful and really living out their dreams is a lack of discipline, right? And I wanted to start with this one because I truly believe this is the number one thing that holds people back, even more than fear, is a lack of discipline. Discipline means you are willing to stick to your word and do whatever is necessary to manifest the outcome that you want to see. But here's the thing. A lot of people love to talk, maybe they'll even write out their goals, but taking that action to actually get started and do day one of the longer journey to manifest an outcome, ooh, that's hard for a lot of people. It truly is. And here's the thing, when it comes to creating discipline within yourself or becoming a more disciplined person, there's really only one strategy that I have for you. And the strategy here, folks, is pretty simple. You want to think about your future self. If I today, Danilo Capric, am 30 years old and I tell myself, you know, when I'm 40, I don't want to work and I want to retire and I want to have a house in Montenegro and I want to, and I keep spitting out these outcomes. That's really good. But if I don't take the action to get there, it's all BS, right? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. But here's the thing. If I think about that future self, that 40-year-old version of myself, it's going to be easier for me personally to take that action. Because I'm going to say, you know what? That 40-year-old version of myself, I'm going to make them really proud of me. And because of that, I'm going to make this YouTube video today. Because of that, I'm going to take XYZ action. But the thing is, you have to keep reminding yourself of that future version of you that's going to be happy about the action you're taking today. And at some points in your life, that can override the toughness and maybe the stress involved with taking the actions necessary to get to your goals. So strategy number 1 for manifesting discipline in your life and helping you actually take the action to get to where you want is to always think about your future self. The other thing I'll mention when it comes to creating more discipline within yourself is asking yourself the question before you do anything, take any action, whether it's taking out the trash, going out to hang with your friends, you ask yourself, is this something that my future self would be happy about or not so much? And let the answer to that question guide your next move as to whether or not it's a good use of your time. The second biggest thing that stops most people from being as successful as possible and living out the life of their dreams is having a lack of clear direction on how to get started. Just think about any outcome you want to manifest or any end destination you may have in life, right? Even if I today want to get to the grocery store, if I don't have an idea of how to get there or which direction to start in, I'm probably never going to make it to the grocery store. And that's how you should think about your entire life or any kind of short or long-term goal that you have is what's the direction? What is the actual set of instructions or directions that I can take to actually get there, right? If you want to create a website and have 300,000 subscribers in the next 3 years, what do you actually need to do to get there? And there's a couple of ways that you can set up this kind of understanding for yourself and map out a clear direction. Here are a few ways I like to do this. Number 1 would be to make your own map. What I mean is literally get out a sheet of paper and with your best guess and your gut instincts, figure out and brainstorm, how would I really do this, right? If your goal is to become a content creator, or maybe you want to get into the field of tech sales, how would you actually do that? You got to sit down and ask yourself, okay, what's the first step that I take? Maybe it's, okay, revise my resume. After that, make a LinkedIn profile. Maybe after that, I check out some other people who are in tech sales and I ask them for 10 minutes of their time to speak with them. That is a great way for you to now have some actionable steps to get started. But if you don't take the time to map these things out, you're always just going to be wondering and saying, man, how do I get into tech sales? Or how do I become a content creator? You have to actually map out the steps that you can take to get there, or else you'll always just be wondering how. And here's the other thing. If you're always thinking about, man, I don't know how to start, the best thing to do is just start. Just start. Even if it's wrong, you can quickly iterate, right? If I'm going to the grocery store and I'm in the car and the grocery store is actually the complete opposite direction, I can always turn around. Isn't that lovely? I can always just bust a U-turn and make it to the grocery store, even if I was headed in the wrong direction. So here's the thing, guys. Even in life, if you go in the completely opposite direction, it is so possible to do a U-turn, spin around, and literally make the adjustment that's necessary. Number 3 on the list of things that stop people from being as successful as possible is lack of knowledge on the topic. For example, let's say that you want to learn about real estate and you want to buy some properties and you want to become a real estate investor, but you're like, oh my God, that's so much knowledge. It's a very specialized field. I have to get an exam and I have to do this and there's a lot to learn. Oh my God, how do I do this? The good news is there are thousands of resources out there for us to learn from, and we live in the information age nowadays, guys. It's so easy to learn. It's actually never been easier to learn and get knowledge in this world. So if you are struggling with your goals and you're not sure how to proceed because you don't know enough about the topic or the actual thing you want to do, guess what? Start with YouTube, right? Just type it in. There are thousands of channels on real estate, for example, that you can learn from. Go to the library or go to Amazon Books. There are so many books out there on any topic you can imagine that you can learn from. Number 3 would maybe be go consult an expert, right? How many real estate agents are out there right now? If you just walk out your door and you go to any real estate office and you just talk to someone, you're going to be able to learn right then and there, right? So again, if you are lacking information, you just don't feel like you have enough info to get started, go out there and learn. It's so easy to find info, but again, you got to have that discipline to go out there and get it and think about your future self. All right, last but not least, number 4 in terms of things that hold people back from being as successful as possible in life is, hope this is not a surprise, but it is fear. Fear of failure, fear of what people will think, fear of what your family might think, fear of being successful perhaps, but there's so many different fears that stop people from taking the leap of faith and doing things that they actually want to do. So how do we get around this fear and actually take the steps to manifest our goals? Let me give you a couple. The first one that I like to go with is called the video game mindset. And the video game mindset is pretty much like this. Think about any video game you ever played, right? Any game. I guarantee you that your character in this video game either died very quickly or you lost the game very quickly, because when you first start a video game, you don't know where anything is, you don't know the controls, you don't know the bad guys, the good guys, you don't know where the resources are, and you don't even know the objective of the game, right? You're just getting started. You're like a baby in a new world. You can't even walk yet, okay? Naturally, in that kind of situation, it's very likely that you fail very fast because you don't know enough, right? You don't have that information. So here's the thing though, the longer you play that video game, the more times your character dies quickly, you're eventually going to get better. And within 7 days, you've almost mastered the game. Isn't that lovely to think about? In life, when we're trying something new for the first time, it will always be difficult, it will always be hard, and we will most often fail very fast. But here's the thing, if you keep that up for 7, 14, 30, 45 days, wow, now you build momentum. Now you actually become an expert. And after a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you're really an expert and you can become one of the top authorities in your field perhaps if you stick with it. So the video game mentality is one that I like to think about a lot because again, it's comforting for me to know that I was not born an expert and that I will fail quickly, but if I continue with it, I will eventually master the game. The other thing when it comes to getting over fear is to just realize that nowadays, guys, we live in the most self-absorbed period in human history. And most people genuinely do not even notice you. You are just a tiny little event in their own movie that they're playing constantly in their head. I live in Miami, Florida, for example. I probably walked around this morning for an hour, just running some errands, doing some things. I would say maybe 150 people saw me. Guess how many of those people probably remember me from today if I was to see them tomorrow? I almost guarantee 0. 0 of those people probably even knew I existed. They probably didn't even notice me on the street. Guess why? Because most people are so self-absorbed in their own movie going on, which is their life. And why would they even care about you? So as much as you think people are watching and people will have a negative opinion and people will care about what you're doing, let me break it to you so clean right here. They won't. They just won't, okay? All that fear is literally just in our head. And even, for example, me making this YouTube channel, do I really think that every single person on the internet is going to see me and have a judgment about the shirts I wear or the fact that I unbutton my shirt so much? No. And guess what? If they do, I don't care. If you comment negatively on my video, I don't care. If you don't subscribe to my channel, I don't care. Guess why? Because I'm just thinking about my future self. I know I will get better with YouTube over time, and I'm not worried about any negativity along the way. So there you have it, guys. Those are the 4 things that are most commonly holding people back from being as successful as humanly possible. We talked about lack of discipline, lack of direction on how to get started, lack of knowledge, and most importantly, fear. All of these things really hold people back when it comes to being successful, taking that leap of faith and manifesting your goals. But if you can use your own strategies or even some of these that we talked about today in this video to get over these things, I can almost guarantee you that you will start to see progress and you will eventually become what is your own version of personal success. So there you have it, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button below. Also, if you're not doing so already, go follow me on LinkedIn. And last but not least, if you are trying to break into the field of tech sales or you're already in sales and you want to level up your craft, become a sharper, smarter seller, go ahead and subscribe to our weekly newsletter at the B2B Syndicate. Link will be in the description below, and you can follow us there for free content every single week delivered straight to your inbox. So with that said, guys, hope you enjoy, and we will catch y'all in the next video. Take it easy now.